The Angry Chicken is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use our code TAC, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. We thank DoghouseSystems.com for their support of The Angry Chicken.
Well met.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
It's time for a little roll.
This is the Angry Chicken.
I hope you like my invention.
Tastingo! I'm gonna eat that! Reporting for duty.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 17 of The Angry Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined, as I always am, by Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Guys, or guy, gal, whatever.
You there.
You
should, one of these days you should go like, ladies. I mean, I'm sorry, ladies and dude. Pardon me.
Well, now you've ruined it. If I choose to use that in the future, everyone will just be like, Dills gave you that idea. You're not that clever, Garrett.
Sorry.
I know you're not that funny.
You're right.
It's a shame. Anyways, welcome back. It's a Monday night, the day after the Super Bowl, the worst game I've seen in a long time.
It's terrible.
Just
Oh my
terrible,
God.
terrible
But
football.
congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks and their fans, who I don't hate, regardless of what they may think.
Why
Happy
would
for
you
them.
hate them?
They think I do. Because they played the Niners. Like, I'm sorry. When someone plays my team, I talk appropriate levels of smack. It has nothing to do with their city or them as a people.
Them as the people?
Them as a people, yeah. You
yeah.
people in Seattle are fine.
What do you mean, you people?
I didn't even know. Did they trash their city or not? I feel like they wouldn't. Like Seattle wouldn't do that. But
I don't know. I honestly, I cared so little about the game anyway. It's not two teams I'm a fan of. It's not two teams I'm not a fan of. Like, I couldn't even root against one of them.
I know. You know what? I would never root for Denver, and it was really hard to think that I should. It was really hard. I was like, okay. And I can't feel bad for Peyton Manning because he's, at home he's got like a fridge full of Papa John's. He's doing just fine.
I do root for the Broncos. It was heartbreaking.
Aw,
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
it was very sad.
The only upside I got out of it is I'm an Eli Manning fan, so at least he still has more rings.
Okay.
Oh my God, they showed him at the end and he looked so
Yeah.
sad.
Oh yeah. He was just like, well, I have more rings, but this is just sad.
It was
You know what the
depressing.
Super Bowl was like? The Super Bowl was like somebody just drafted like a ton of wisps and eye for an eyes and angry chickens, and then they had to play against somebody who had like 6 swipes. Like, that's basically what it was. Like, nothing they could do was ever going to work. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to Hearthstone.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get in here. Just a reminder here at the top of the show that this weekend is the Angry Chicken Invitational. This is the tournament that we've been like flirting with and kind of hinting at over the past few weeks. And last week we finally told you it's happening. So just a reminder, this weekend, this Saturday, February 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/AMoveTV right here on this Twitch channel. If you're watching live, we're going to finally broadcast our first ever tournament. We invited 4 of the best Hearthstone players, Christopher, Koyuki, AP Drop, and Savages, to compete for a $200 prize pool given to us by DoghouseSystems.com. Just spoiler alert, it's not disappointing. There's some really awesome games.
Yeah, it's 3.5 plus hours of awesome Hearthstone action. And I'm excited for everyone to get to see this thing. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to hope that we get everyone who's in here now, everyone listening to the show, tell all your friends, show up live. We want a lively chat room. We'll be in there too.
Bring your mom. Tell your
so
your
excited.
grandparents to come watch this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Tell everybody.
It's our first time putting together one of these things. We'd really like a good turnout. So anything you can do to drum up some support of this tournament, we really appreciate it. We're grassroots, man. We put this together ourselves with bubble gum and duct tape. We don't know what we're doing. We don't have some big. We're not running around wearing sponsored jackets doing this.
There are no ring girls, guys. I'm sorry.
They wouldn't let
everyone's
me.
going to be disappointed.
Jocelyn, and
you would have made an amazing ring girl, I'm sure, but
yeah,
instead we needed you to actually, do stuff like work.
Yeah. Organize and email.
Above the ring girl pay grade.
Coordinate.
Is what it was, really.
yeah, I asked Jocelyn to do it.
All I wanted to be in was a bikini, and you made me run things. It was
Next
awful.
Next time.
I'm about to say, I asked Jocelyn, and then she punched me. Then Joel came over and punched me. Then I asked my girlfriend Katie to do it, and she punched me. And
Just so many punches.
Bruises everywhere.
yeah, it's just.
I do want to say though that I think it came out pretty good, considering I've actually kind of rewatched some of it after exporting the final video just to kind of make sure everything was okay. And I want to thank Gimps for helping us out with the videos, and of course all the players, and Jocelyn and Garrett. You guys helped quite a bit, and it's going to be good stuff, man. I'm excited
Yeah, absolutely.
for our first attempt. It's solid. It's pretty solid.
Yeah,
I would watch this.
I'm already wanting to do another one.
Oh yeah,
You're doing another one.
Oh,
of course.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Angry chicken bikinis and everything involved. It's totally going down.
Oh, I have an idea. It's going to be excellent.
If it's me wearing a bikini, I'm one step ahead of you.
Hold that thought, Jocelyn. Save it for us, stream. Surprises.
All right. Well, with that in mind, again, it's twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Go follow that channel if you're not already doing it. You won't miss the broadcast. And we'll see you this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Now let's get into today's episode. Let's talk some Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
It took me this long to realize that that's the knife juggler. I don't know why, but this week I was playing some games and my knife juggler died, and I'm like, oh, so it's that card. I don't know.
You haven't heard the knife juggler dying like so many times?
No, I have. I guess it happens so often that it's just white noise.
Yeah.
Because that card has hidden text. It just says dies.
Yeah.
So.
Well, see, I have 2 golden knife jugglers I got like pretty early on. So for a long time, they went in every deck. I was like, well, it's my only golden card, so they go in.
Got to have some swag.
Yeah, and plus it's cool. It's a cool card. So I've heard that sound tons and tons of times. So.
Yeah.
I was like, this has to go in. It's one of the cooler decks. I'm working again on our intro, kind of reworking it a little bit. So I'm going back listening to all those death sounds and all the card emotes and stuff. That's one of my favorite ones. It's just kind of cool. Just wow, no.
Oh, no. He's really into it for a second, and he's just kind of like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Poor little guy. Poor little juggalo.
Anyways, top story of the week: ranked test season 2. It's over, done, kaput, out of here. Community manager Aratil announced on the official forums this past Wednesday that season 2 of ranked play would be ending this Friday. Test season 3 is here. Welcome back, all you angry chickens. We don't blame you for trying to get out of this rank as soon as humanly possible.
Did that end really quickly? Did that season seem really, really short?
The last season, the reset was delayed, so this was much faster.
Because they're supposed to be a month long, right?
Yeah, according to their plans, but of course it's Blizzard. Plans change. But I kind of want to get your take after that short of a season. Did you feel like it was just way too short?
I definitely did. I mean, I usually take a good week and a half of time where I just kind of let things settle out. Although it's different this season, I found with it being open beta. But I usually let it kind of settle a little bit and then go in and start playing ranked. So, I mean, I felt like I had only just started playing. I only made it to, I think, rank 19. And then it was over and I was back to 25. And I was like, oh, I kind of feel like I wasted those games.
Yeah, if that's your strategy, then that's an incredibly short season.
Mm-hmm.
So. Right. Yeah, I'm definitely kind of in the same boat. I mean, I'm looking at it from two sides. One as the spoiled StarCraft player who has nice long seasons. And then the other as the guy who remembers them talking about having 1 week long seasons and was throwing knives at the computer reading these.
Oh, yeah, but that was when they were doing the other ladder. That would make no sense with this ladder. Oh my god. The 3-star master thing was only like 5 or 6 levels. So that wouldn't have been too terrible. But it's a grind. I mean, I think I ended up at rank 3 or something, and I could have probably spent a bunch of time trying to actually grind out legend, but it's to me, I don't know what happens. I cannot sit and play ranked for longer than a few hours. Like I just want to go play arena again, you know. And the players who get to legend seem to be guys who are putting in 5-6+ long hour sessions consistently. So
yeah.
Do you think that's going to change once there's like the rewards for, you know, different card backs and all that kind of extra stuff when the game actually goes live? Would that motivate you to do it a little bit more, or are you just kind of like,
it's going to motivate everyone though? That's the problem. It's going to be even tougher because
well, they've already said
everyone's going to be doing
it. You're not going to have to achieve like a specific high rank to unlock those things. It's just going to be kind of for participation in each season. Because like if you had to get to like rank 5 to get these card backs, it'd be a massive chunk of the player base just getting.
Is it really just participation?
They haven't.
No, I think I do think there's going to be some differentiation between like what you get for your rank, but they haven't really announced all that yet. So it's. Everything we say now is just speculation. We know that some of the rewards include card backs, but they haven't said card backs for this, card backs for that. Like we don't really know yet. So right now they're just testing out just how the whole damn thing works. And I think what they want is they want stats on the total player base and how high they hit, you know, and how many wins does it take to get there and how hard is it, how easy is it, so they can just kind of tune it before they actually start doling out the rewards. But seems okay right now. I don't think they need to make too many changes to the ranking system itself, but we'll see exactly how it works.
Yep. Also talking about how they're tuning the game, quest canceling is now re-enabled, so you can go into there and you can cancel your quests again. Finally, it's good. I can get rid of all those damn like mage dailies that I'm never going to do because I hate playing mage.
Well, mage dailies used to be easy. Now in constructed, mage is pretty tough, man.
Yeah, well, I just never really enjoyed playing them to begin with.
Yeah, they're in arena. They're still incredibly powerful. So if you need to just win a few games with mage, just pick it in arena. Like Flame Strike is sick. It's amazing. It's an amazing card, and if you get like 3 of them, like you just win all the time. So
yeah.
Skip them in ranked, do them in arena.
Yeah. Now, are you still suggesting that everyone tries skipping their 40 gold daily quest in hopes for a 60 gold daily quest?
Not everyone. If you don't have a lot of time to play, you shouldn't. But if you are really interested in farming gold and you need as much gold as you can get, I would say do it because it just ups the amount of gold you can get. If you're already playing a lot and you just need some gold, I would definitely do that. Skip all the 40 ones and just try to turn them into 60 gold ones. Because it actually happens almost every time when I do it. So I'm not really throwing them out very often, though, because I do play enough of the classes that they just kind of happen. I don't have to actively try to complete my quests, but I think that's the way to go. If you're really worried about grinding gold, that's going to be one of your biggest tools to do it. Just throw out all the 40 gold quests.
Yeah, and it's not guaranteed. You're not going to cancel out that 40 gold and get a 60 gold, but there's just a chance.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you're really going for it, why not at least give it a shot?
I'm saying there's a chance. Yeah. If you get another 40, you didn't lose anything. So.
Right. Exactly. Except maybe you got a class that you really don't feel like playing.
That's true. Yeah. But like right now, I'd say this, that there's actually quite a bit of parity in the game. Like the balance is as good as it has been. Even though mages are probably just like they feel nerfed because they just got nerfed. They're not like necessarily weaker than all the other classes. And there's actually a few pretty decent priest decks you can make right now. Even though priest seems like the weakest, there's actually some really strong priest decks you can make. It's just a matter of like avoiding the pitfalls that priest has of like, well, mind control is so good, I should put 2 of those in there. Your deck gets too slow. So you really need to concentrate on the early game and what early game options priest has. And then a really strong mid game, and then priest just naturally has strong late game. So
yeah,
I'm gonna mess around with one a little bit later tonight, I think, because I've seen some interesting takes on the priest, and I'm excited to try them out. So yeah, don't be too scared. Like give everything a shot, you guys.
Yeah, and the meta moves slow. I mean, it's still a new game. There's not a lot of people trying to break the mold. A lot of people are just reading deck guides and going with that, as opposed to trying new stuff. So. All it takes is one person to just be like, no, damn it, I'm going to make the priest good. And they find out some kind of killer combo that we didn't know about.
Well, and there's a couple of incredibly strong cards in the Priest deck, like the Soul Priest is just an amazing card. Pair that with like an Earthen Ring Farseer, and you basically have like a 3/3 that does 3 damage. Like it's like a super. What is the card? What is the gunman? The dwarf?
I was thinking of the SI7 agent, but yeah.
Oh yeah, but you don't even have to combo it. Yeah, it's like a super SI7 agent. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that combo is incredibly strong, and there's a lot of cool things you can do. So I'm interested in trying some of them out. I think the pitfall too of the Priest as well is everyone thinks of the Shadow Words as being so strong, but there's so many popular 4-power creatures in the game that they're actually not as good as people think they are. Like you're almost better off just dropping a creature on turn 2 rather than trying to do that. Plus, you've got cards like Cabal, Shadow Priest, and Shadow Madness, which actually get you more value than those Shadow Word Pains do. So instead of like killing off all the low attack creatures, you use them to kill off their own guys, like with Shadow Madness, or steal them with the Cabal Shadow Priest. Like there's a lot of cool things you can do. So
yeah,
you just got to rethink how the Priest works.
Yeah, I want to get in there and try it again too, because that was the first deck that I really liked. I loved the heal mechanic.
We were talking about doing a video on Priest, right? We should do that.
We should do that. We should try and knock that out sometime this week.
Okay, let's do it.
No promises though. We
got a busy weekend ahead of us.
Oh no,
we have so much free time.
You're dedicated. You're done.
Final news this week: the Blizzard Stream Awards are up, and you can go and vote for us because we were nominated, and it's really awesome to be nominated. We probably have no chance in hell of winning though.
Hey! You never know. Optimism.
Yeah.
If all of you guys go out and vote, every single one of you guys, and every single person who listens to the instance goes out and votes, we could win.
Then maybe.
Yes.
We could win.
Yes, absolutely.
That's 100,000 people or whatever. Like that's a lot.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Just because I'm like, oh god, we're up against day 9, we're doomed, doesn't mean you shouldn't still go vote because damn it, I don't want to come in last place.
Oh yeah, just make sure we don't come in last. Although we're not in last now, right? No, we're not.
We're tied for last.
No, well, their little bar is smaller than ours, though, for one of these guys, even though it's the same percentage. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what I'm going with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
But nonetheless, everyone who votes, thank you so very, very much. I was really excited when we heard about this. I was like, oh my god, I'm on the official Blizzard site. Nerd out. And then I saw who we were up against, and sobering moment.
But you know what, though? If we were to beat like day 9, it would be like, okay, so years and years of content creation means nothing. Yeah. Start a podcast, and then a few months later, bam, do it.
Best ever.
It's it's tough to beat someone who's been doing this for as long as they have. So any of these people who wins, I'm going to be happy for them because a lot of these people are putting out great stuff.
Yep. If you want to vote for us, you can go to tinyurl.com/votefortac.
I also made another one because it turns out if you go to Vote for TAC, that's the Warcraft one. And if you don't have an active WoW subscription, you can't vote in that forum.
Oh, how strange.
Yes. So if you go to, and this is Barbecue Master from the chat pointed this out to me on Twitter over the weekend. So if you go to Vote for TAC HS, that will take you to the Hearthstone forum, and you can vote there.
Vote for TACHS. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it.
I did not know that. The Warcraft one was the one that everyone forwarded to me when they were informing me that we were nominated, so that's what I made the link out of.
I know. My mom tried to vote, and she was like, I don't understand. I walked her through, installing Hearthstone. She's playing Hearthstone now, and she's just like,
whoa.
What? I have Hearthstone. I don't know why I can't vote. I don't understand.
I saw your public conversation on Facebook, which is just so mom-like. It's not even funny. Like, Mom, you can send these to me in private messages. Nope, we're gonna have it out right here in the comment section of this link being shared. My girlfriend and I were reading it and laughing our asses off. Your mother is so sweet.
She is. She's adorable.
Yeah. So thank you, Mrs. Moffat.
Mrs. Moffat, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's time to talk a little strategy.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
And it's also time to pay for it on the next turn, because this week we're talking about Overload, which is currently specific to the Shaman class only. We've talked about it in passing on previous episodes, but after Dill's wonderful weapon-specific discussion last week, we figured why not get specific again and just talk about one of the aspects of the game that we haven't delved into specifically. So we're here to talk about Overlord. I can't talk.
We're here to talk about our Overlord.
Yes, Blizzard Entertainment, makers of such wonderful games as Lost Vikings.
My favorite game ever, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. No, hell no. What are you talking about?
No offense, Blizzard, but there's better games.
No. Yeah, you've made much better games since then. So yeah, Overload is an interesting mechanic to kind of give specifically to one class. Every class kind of has that one thing about them.
Yes.
And Shamans have this Overload mechanic, which actually makes them fairly tough to play because you have to plan not only for the turn you're currently on, but you have to plan for the next turn. So, and also when you look at the mana cost, the overall mana cost of these cards, you realize that Blizzard is actually considering, and I'd agree with, that overall mana, but not having to pay the entire cost of it in the same turn is actually worth more. So basically, like, the mana cost is higher than a comparable card if you look at the Overload as well. But the fact is you can play that and maybe another card, or you can play it a turn earlier. So it does give you a lot of advantages, but it also makes you, sometimes it screws you a little bit. And I saw actually a game recently. Crip lost the game because he forgot he was overloaded. And this kind of stuff is very easy to have happen, where you just forget that, oh my God, I have one less mana than I thought.
Yeah.
Or sometimes 3 or 4, so it's a little rough. So I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are just on how that's worked for you before we delve into like all the cards and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with you that it's more complicated as an overall thing, especially if you have any previous card game experience. You're not just like, but what?
Yeah.
Like, imagine you have like a notepad when you're playing some kind of paper card game. You're just like, okay, I can't use this many resources of my regular resources next turn.
Is there not a mechanic in Magic where a land like stays tapped or something for?
Not that I'm aware of. There's obviously offensive cards where you can tap. I believe you can tap into opponent's mana. There's definitely cards where you can destroy opponent's mana.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool in Hearthstone.
I think we'll see that at some point.
Because there's plenty of cards that give your opponent a mana crystal.
You should totally be able to take them away.
Yeah, there's cards that take away your own too. The Warlock has the card. It's basically a Tazdingo for 1 less mana, but you pay 1 mana the rest of the game. So I think it's actually a terrible card.
Yeah. Why would you ever play that?
I know. And people don't, for a good reason.
There'll be some card that comes out in the set down the road that'll make that card amazing, but at the moment, probably terrible. Or maybe always terrible. You never know.
Probably always terrible. I'm gonna say always terrible. But yeah, so Jocelyn, do you play a lot of Shaman?
I did for a while. I actually stopped mostly because I just couldn't get a handle on Overload. And then today I was like, well, I know what we're going to talk about and I have a ton of time, so I'm going to play some Hearthstone and I'm going to make a Overload deck full of legendaries. So I put every legendary that I own into a deck and then filled the rest of it with every Overload card that there possibly was.
Not sure that's an efficient way to play. How did it go?
No, it went horrible.
Okay. All right.
But now I know all about all the cards and why they're terrible.
Well, all of the Overload cards are actually pretty good. Like, there's not a single one that's like a bad card, really.
There are a couple that I really liked, and that every single time I played them, they were really, really helpful. But it is really hard to wrap your head around the fact that you're, in turn 5, you're only going to have 3 mana or whatever, and it's very complicated.
It's actually one of the things you'll see in a lot of Shaman decks is instead of this kind of nice, well-rounded curve, you'll actually see like big gaping holes in the curve because generally on turn 5, they probably only have 4 mana, right? And then also on turn 5, you don't want to overload because on turn 6, you want your Fire Elemental, which is, a really powerful card. So it's a 6 mana cost, 6/5, that does 3 damage as it hits the board. So it's just such a sick card.
Damn good card. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so you need to be aware of when those specific turns are coming that you must not be overloaded because that card is just so damn powerful.
Yeah.
Then there's other cards that have kind of gone in and out of the meta because they're very powerful, but if they get countered, and if they get countered efficiently, you basically fall really far behind when you also overload yourself on the next turn. So it's good that you kind of bring up that point of that it's a hard mechanic to wrap your head around when you don't have a lot of experience with it. And I think everyone who plays Shaman for the first time is going to run into this kind of, either they're going to hit a wall with it and go like, screw this is it's too much to think about, or they're going to kind of persevere through that initial difficulty, and then they're going to find out why these cards are really powerful. But it's not initially obvious, I think.
Yeah, and some of them are actually still pretty well costed, even with their overload costs added in.
Oh, they absolutely are. They were. I mean, I found that even if I sat down and thought, okay, well, I'm going to take the overload into account, and so now instead of a 3-mana card, it's actually more like a 5-mana. But then it's split over 2 turns, and it's just this whole thing about like trying to get like to kind of put that in with all the other cards and justify the cost of things and figure out where they're going to fit. And it takes more than a day, people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I really think that it would probably be better like picking and choosing the ones that fit with your play style as opposed to trying to just build like a deck with all the overload cards. Like, because I mean, there's different overload reasons, you know, like some of them are much more attack, some of them are much more control. And so you still have to kind of pick and choose. It's not just like all the Murlocs, you know, all the overload. It's still, you know, you have to make decisions.
Decide what your deck is actually trying to do, right? You have to decide, is this like a rush deck? Is this a control deck? Is this, am I just trying to prevent rush decks? Am I, you know, like what is the actual goal of this deck and how am I going to win the game? And then you decide which of these overload cards actually fit into that. So let's just go ahead and go through them.
Yeah, starting off with the Dust Devil.
Yeah.
I tried that one. It doesn't work.
I hate this card.
Yeah.
I think this card is just garbage in a can.
It's pretty bad.
It's for those of you who may not have Hearthhead open going through these cards. It's a 1 mana for a 3 attack, 1 damage card with Wind Fury, overload of 2. So on turn 1, you're sacrificing your turn 2 for a guy that dies to literally anything.
Yeah, he's a 3/1 with Wind Fury, so it seems cool when people look at it for the first time. Like, ooh, Wind Fury for 1 mana.
I could have 6 damage.
That is literally what I thought.
I
was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And then I was like, okay, 1 health, a mage can hit it, but not till turn 2. Maybe I can make this work. You cannot make this work.
But if you play it on, but there's no way against a mage, druid, or rogue that you can make it work. Because if you go first, they have the coin on turn 1. They can just, and they always will coin out. This is like one of those instances where coining out your hero ability is always called for. Because you got to kill it.
Otherwise, it's 6 damage to the face.
Yeah, you have to kill it right away if you can. And I've had this played against me in Arena quite often, like the turn 1, which is not terrible. Like if I'm a priest or something, and you play like a turn, you know, you play this turn 1 Dust Devil, it could get real hairy real fast. I mean, I could be taking 12 damage before I can deal with it.
That is the dream, isn't it? Like, oh, sweet, it's Arena. I've got turn 1. It's a priest.
Yeah.
Finally, this card is usable.
Time for Dust Devil.
Yeah. So it's very rare that it actually works out.
Yeah.
The Dust Devil dream we've actually talked about on the show is coin out 2 Dust Devils on the same turn. On turn 1, you coin out 2 of them. The opponent can't deal with it. Then on the next turn, you play nothing because you have no mana, but you attack for 12. Then the turn after, you do something like a Flame Tongue Totem in between them, and then like a Rockbiter weapon on 1, and then you kill them in 3 turns. That's the Dust Devil dream.
This is, of course, assuming that your opponent has fallen asleep.
Yeah. Or just has no early removal. I mean, they could have definitely... I mean, I've seen situations where you have nothing in your hand early that's actually like removal, and then... You know, you play something like, I don't know, a Fairy Dragon or something like that, and you can only really kill one of them. So it can happen. It's not common. It's not common enough to make this card actually very good.
Cards that rely on your opponent having a bad hand is a bad card.
Yeah. So. Now, if it was, say, like a 2/1 with charge and 3 overload, like that might be awesome because I think the problem is that you have to, it has to survive, you know, it has to live a turn. And there's no way in a shaman deck to give it charge. So basically throw it out there and just hope and pray that it lives through the turn. And most of the time it does not.
I'm pretty sure Blizz would raise an eyebrow to a 1-mana minion having more overload than you could have on turn 2.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't think it would work. Well, okay, so that's another reason why that double Dust Devil play is so crazy, because, and this is a good point to make about overload, if you overload more than the total amount of mana you're going to have on the next turn, that doesn't mean that you pay extra the turn, like, so it's not like you're overloaded for 2 turns. You actually, like, got, like, a tax-free extra Dust Devil in that situation.
Yes.
So, you know, that is, it's cheating. It's OP. You shouldn't be able to do that. But still, yeah,
it's,
you can't.
The scenarios where you actually overload more than you have access to are so few and far between.
Yeah. You know, it would be like the ultimate nightmare, though, is you coin out 2 Dust Devils, right? You're like stoked. Turn 1, I got double Dust Devil out there. But you're playing a shaman, and you're like, sweet, because he's a shaman, so he can't do 1 damage with a hero power. And then he goes, Forked Lightning, bang.
Good
done,
night.
Owned.
Yeah, which leads right into the next card, which is Forked Lightning, which is actually a pretty damn good card. It's
okay. It's okay. It's not getting a lot of play right now in Constructed, but I think it has a lot of power. It's just kind of untapped at this point.
It kind of it goes against the grain of the Stormforged Act-based shaman that we were talking about last week when we were discussing weapons, which is shamans usually, if you've got your Stormforged Axe ready to go, very rarely does your opponent have 2 minions on the board in the early game.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really have a target for Forked Lightning.
My biggest issue with Forked Lightning is that it's overcosted in comparison to another card that does basically the exact same thing, which is Cleave. Now, it costs 1 mana. So what Forked Lightning does is it deals 2 damage to 2 random minions, right? So exactly the same thing that Cleave does. However, it costs 1 overload of 2, making it cost a total of 3. Whereas Cleave just costs 2. So while you can, you know, play another card potentially in the same turn, the part of the game where it's most effective is the early part of the game. And the early part of the game is the part of the game where you really don't want to overload yourself too much. So this is why Forked Lightning is, to me, not really heavily used, because later in the game it may not do anything, and that's when the overload doesn't matter as much. But if you overload yourself on turn 1 or 2 for 2, you really screw your next turn. So
yeah, it slows the momentum down big time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for that reason, I don't think, unless somebody finds something really that everyone else is missing, something really powerful everyone else is missing, I don't think we're going to see a lot of these Forked Lightnings in use for quite a while. So,
yep.
But I do agree. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think it's a good pick in Arena a lot of times, though.
Yes. Yeah. Moving on to Lightning Bolt with another 1 mana card, but with an overload of only 1. So this costs only 2 mana total across 2 turns. Just deal 3 damage.
Yep.
Minion.
Pretty much.
Player. Wherever you want it, you can put it there.
Wherever you want it. Yeah. And it's good, man. I mean, think about let me just real quick make a point on something. Someone made in the chat room that they said Forked Lightning seems more fair at 1 overload, right? So, which would basically make it exactly the same. It would make it a better Cleave, because you pay 1 now, pay 1 later for it. So this is why you'll see some of these cards, if you take their entire mana cost into account, will kind of be overcosted. But because the mana cost is spread out over 2 turns, you actually pay a little more. You're taxed on it, essentially.
Yeah. Blizzard's basically saying that, hey, getting a similar effect to another class out a turn or 2 earlier is worth more.
Yeah, and this is not just in Hearthstone. I mean, come on, we all know how loans work. Like like I get a loan and then I just pay you exactly the amount.
I need to do something awesome right now. It cannot wait. Okay, fine, you can do it, but you're paying me more in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. So that's basically overload. It's just a loan. But okay, so Lightning Bolt is a really good card, I think. And this one is not overcosted at all, so that's why I think it's really good.
No, Lightning Bolt is the reason I'm going to not talk favorably about Lava Burst later down the line.
Sure. Sure, exactly.
You're paying 2 mana for 3 damage. Like, that is great, and only 1 at the time when you need to use it.
It's a Frostbolt, but you only pay 1 the current turn, which means it allows you, similar to like Backstab or something, it allows you to really gain a huge tempo lead early in the game because you can kill something and play something in the same turn.
Yep.
Unlike, say, Frostbolt, where on turn 2 I play Frostbolt, that's my whole turn. On turn 2 with like Lightning Bolt, you could still play like a Leper Gnome or something else. So, or a Dust Devil if you want to. But
but don't.
Yeah, but don't do that. So it's, to me, I think it's a really great card. But plus, not only that, it's a spell, so it skips over taunt. It benefits from spell power. It does all those great things. Now you can still see a small advantage being given to Frostbolt, which is of course the Mage 3 damage for 2. Because that also freezes. So Blizzard is still kind of saying, hey, look, that we still value, that exact same damage per mana. We value this a little bit more. Like, we realize Overload is still more powerful than, say, Freeze. Like, they kind of even that out with that. But it's one of those cards. Like, in Arena, I would probably pick 4 of these. I think it's a great card. And I will, though, real quick point out Rockbiter Weapon. I think if you have a hand early in the game, so Rockbiter Weapon actually just gives either you 3 attack your character or a minion on the board or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. It basically adds 3 attack power to a creature or yourself. It's 1 mana as well, same cost as Lightning Bolt, and I think it's actually more valuable early in the game to keep Rockbiter weapons than Lightning Bolts. So just because of not overloading yourself early in the game.
Right.
So I just want to make that point.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Moving on to the Stormforged Axe, which we talked about pretty extensively last week. So if you want to hear even more about it, go listen to episode 16, where we talked all about weapons and our love for the Stormforged Axe. Because it's just a damn good card. It's got 3 charges on it, does 2 damage, it costs 2 mana with an overload of 1, so you're paying 3 mana total, but you can get it out on turn 2 and start keeping your opponent's minions off of the board, which is just great.
Yeah, it's the 3 charges on this weapon that's really where it shines, and 1 overload is plenty. It's plenty fine. I'll pay 1 overload for that, no problem.
Man, I've never seen the gold version of this before. I want the gold version now. It's very pretty.
I have the gold version.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Look at you. Now, if the weapon costs 3 mana straight away, 3 mana, 2/3, it would still be, like, everyone would think that was great. The fact that you get to pay that 1 extra mana later makes it even better. So this is one of the cards where overload like really shines in this card. So like, say like turn 4 or something like that. And a lot of times in the early game of Hearthstone, it's a lot of back and forth minion trading. So they might have spent some mana to kill a card on your side. Then they played a 3/2. So then you get to like play that and then play, another card in the same turn. So it's really fantastic weapon, and the 3 charges is insane. 3 turns I get to kill stuff. So
yep.
Amazing.
And what 3/2 do you not want dead? Come on. Any of the 3/2s out there just need to die.
Yeah, just kill them, man.
Knife Juggler needs to die. Fairy Dragon really needs to die, and your Lightning Bolt isn't going to cut it.
Yeah, Stormforged Axe will, though.
Yep. So moving on to the only card included in here that's not technically an Overload card, but it's benefited by Overload, which is the Unbound Elemental. So this is your 3 mana, 2 attack, 4 health. And it gets +1/+1 every time you play a card with Overload on it. Specifically you. It doesn't happen when your opponent plays Overload, which I got excited against those stupid Mind Vision Priests, but alas.
So you made a really good point in there about how it's similar to like a questing adventure, but potentially better because of the fact that it starts as a 2/4, not a 2/2. So for the same amount of mana, like you can play it on its own and it's fine.
Yeah, I've heard the argument that Questing Adventure is better because it gains +1/+1 from any card played, which not a bad argument. It's just that 4 health body on the Elemental, it just makes it so much harder to kill.
Yeah, it makes it live that turn. So you can actually get away with playing it and then the next turn overloading. Whereas like the questing, if I were to play the questing on turn 3, there's no way it survives to turn 4. You have to play it the same turn that you play other stuff. You have to buff the questing adventure right away. Now, however, the Unbound Elemental I can play on turn 3. Then on turn 4, I could do something like Feral Spirit, Lightning Bolt, and just be like insanely powerful with my Unbound Elemental. So it's just the way this card works is it's obviously you have to have these cards with Overload. So there's a caveat there, but the fact that its body is already significant enough before it gets buffed is what makes this a really powerful card.
Yeah, he's not even that terrible to play alone. I mean, 2/4 on turn 3, not bad. And eventually down the game, you draw your Overload. It's great.
No, it's a great card. And it's really good in Arena because you oftentimes get a lot of Overload cards. And when you're constructing decks, sometimes you only really pick like 4 or 5 of these cards. So you don't have all of these Overload cards. Whereas in Arena, you're always going to kind of pick most of these cards because they're all pretty good in Arena.
Yeah, a lot of these Overload cards are instantly better in the Arena setting. Like if we were grading them, they would get a higher rating in Arena than Constructed.
Yeah, I think so. Because in Constructed, you're filling out your neutral cards with these really, really strong cards.
Right.
Whereas in Arena, you're just like, whatever I can get.
What I get this time.
Any of these cards are going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. You just mentioned Feral Spirit, which is the next card we're going to talk about, which is your friendly double 2/3 wolves with taunt for 3 mana with an overload of 2. So you're paying 5 mana total, and it does hurt to be overloaded 2 on turn 4. But
but think about it. You're paying 5 mana total for the same stats as a Spiteful Smith, but you can get it out on turn 3,
and you can really, really make aggro decks angry with the Feral Spirit.
So same as Spiteful Smith, but spread over 2 minions, and it has taunt. So really, really cool stuff. I
love this card.
It's great. Yeah, it's tough to make. Here's my biggest issue with it. As powerful as it is on turn 3, when you play it on turn 3, the next turn you only have 2 mana. So you really have to have a backup plan. Like you need to, otherwise you're just putting out a totem on turn 4, and that's a really weak turn. So it's nice to know that you have something like, a fairy dragon, whatever is a knife juggler you can put behind these 2 taunts, Stormforged Axe, like something actually quality to play on turn 4 when you only have that 2 mana. But even because of that, or even just in spite of that, this is an amazing card just no matter what. Toteming is fine because of the fact that these often will live.
Well, the one that I've been using on that turn then is the Flame Tongue, because then that's 2 mana, and then it buffs the wolves even more, and then they're 4/3s.
That is an amazing play.
It is not a bad play at all. Yeah, Flame Tongue Totem is such a... I'm afraid of it because by itself it's useless.
Oh, that's the thing. You put it down in between 2 taunts, and it's like it lasts forever.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm just always trepidatious of it because it's like, well, what if I don't have my Feral Spirits in my hand and there's nothing on the board?
It doesn't do well when you're losing the game, but when you're winning the game, it's like you just will not lose now. Like if you're winning and you can throw one of those down, you're just you coast to victory.
It's like the sword's already in your opponent and you just broke the tip off in his chest.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Graphic.
A couple points I want to make about the Feral Spirit. It is a spell, so even though you're playing minions, you actually are casting a spell. This is similar to Animal Companion in the Hunter deck. Yep. So with this is a couple of things that this means. One of the things it means is you cannot place them where you want them. They're always just going to go on the right. Similar to like totems or your token as a paladin. So you do have to be prepared for that. Like let's say you have to set something up like a Flame Tongue in a turn earlier, and you know you're going to use those. You probably want to leave a space so that you throw those down the right. The other thing is that cards that draw with spells, like the Gadgetzan Auctioneer, this will count. So
it triggers it.
Doesn't mean they get spell power though. That'd be insane. What if you had spell power and then the Feral Spirits came out? It's like +1/+1.
That'd be so great, and I'm so sad it doesn't work like that.
That'd be amazing.
It makes spell power so much better. It also means you get counterspelled by a mage, so be careful.
Like
that's what I was just gonna say. Is watch the mage and their secrets.
Everyone would be playing. Everyone would be playing the 2/2 with spell damage if like stuff like that worked.
yeah, absolutely
insane. But yeah, no, it's a great card, and it's just think even if it's 5, even if you consider it 5, 4, 6 for 5, it's fine. Those stats are great.
Yeah. Moving on to one that I don't like, Lava Burst. I want to hear your thoughts on this, Dills, because it's 3 mana, 2 overload, so 5 mana total for 5 damage. Yeah. And because of Lightning Bolt being 2 damage, or 2 mana for 3 damage, I'm just like, this is crap. I don't want to pay the mana cost for the damage amount.
Well, this falls into the Fireball as compared to Pyroblast kind of thing. Fireball 6 damage for 4. Pyroblast now, even before when it was 10 for 8, still slightly less efficient than Fireball, right? Now 10 for 10. So the higher the number, the less efficiency you get out of it. And Lava Burst is fine the way it is. I wouldn't mind it being 6 for 5. I don't think it would be overpowered. 6 for 3 plus 2. I don't think it would be overpowered because, you can only have 2. And I think in Arena it would be insane. But Constructed, it'd still be fine. You'd actually see it is what would happen.
Right, exactly. And that's what I mean in the notes here. I put that, I have a really different opinion about this card in the Arena setting. But I just believe, control wins in Arena. Because if you can just continually screw with your opponent's, momentum, it's a lot easier to bank on that they have gaps in their curve. And if you can screw up one of their turns and then you land on a turn where they can't do anything, you just get ahead. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so that's why it's still fairly powerful as a card, but I think the reason why you don't see it in Constructed is because, on turn 3, if I'm going to play something with Overload, I'm going to play Feral Spirit, and then later on, if I'm going to play Lava, if I wanted to play some sort of damaging something, I'm still going to be using things like Rock Biter and Lightning Bolt because of their efficiency and because their power is still high enough. And because it's only 5 instead of, say, 6, or something even crazier like the 10 that, Pyroblast used to be, it's not as strong as a finisher. It's not even as good as Leroy as a finisher, So that's why right now it's a little bit, it's very underused. It's not a card you're going to see very often. I wouldn't mind see it buffed just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I think
I don't think it would kill the game. I don't think it would make Shaman's OP or something like that.
Yeah. I think it just boils down to if you look at it as a 3-drop, you're just I'm never going to use this on turn 3.
Yeah.
Unless it's against a ramp out druid or something and I need an emergency button.
Yeah. It is still it's still used mostly as a finisher than a board clearing type thing. Because as a shaman, you do also have to remember that you oftentimes will have spell power. Just because of the spell power totem, you kind of as a shaman, when you get to late game, you start to get to that point where I have 2 of the 4 totems out, kind of always.
Yep, and it's okay, I got a 50% chance of spell power. Let's roll that dice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can oftentimes get 6 damage out of it. So
I realize I've started cussing a lot less in my Hearthstone game since I've stopped playing shaman as much because there's so many scenarios where it's I really need a spell power totem right now. Roll the dice, and I get the 1/1. Son of a bitch! This is not what I needed.
That's the weirdest thing about their hero power is just that random aspect of it. They're the only ones that have it,
Yep.
Well, I guess you could say the Warlock kind of has the random aspect because you draw a card, you don't know what you're going to get, but
but
it's not quite the same.
The power itself is not random.
You're always going to get a card. It's not
what if sometimes it's nope,
shot.
Not a card this time.
The hero power is basically Nat Peggle, but it's slowly killing you.
Dude, wow.
That'd be awesome.
Nope, I went fishing. Sorry. Did you need a card? I can try and no hero power. Just lay down.
That'd be terrible.
Lightning Storm is the next up. It's 3 mana with an overload of 2, so 5 mana total for dealing 2 to 3 damage to all enemy minions.
More randomness.
Yay.
I don't know why I like Shaman so much because there's nothing more I hate than RNG.
Yeah, but they're so, I don't know, they're just fun. I don't know.
Oh, man, Lightning Storm.
My first 9-0 was with a Shaman when it was still 9 wins in Arena. I mean,
yeah.
I think they're so powerful.
And there's some things, there's times where Lightning Storm, there's times where you play Lightning Storm and you shouldn't play it because there's minions out on the board that have 3 health and you really need them to die and you don't have spell power, but there's just nothing else you can do. And you're like, oh, let's go for it. And it's beautiful and it hits all the 3 and you're like, yes. and then there's times where nothing dies, and you just want to kill yourself because you just screwed your next turn and got nothing for it.
You know what? Okay, I understand that Lightning Storm is already really powerful.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's basically 5 mana.
Right.
And it can do 2 to 3, but I wouldn't mind seeing this card. Like I know it's a good card already. And some people are probably gonna be like, "You're crazy, Dills. What are you talking about?" I wouldn't mind seeing this also hit the hero. Like I think it would be kind of fun. Because then you get those situations where they have 3 health, and you're like, I might kill him. And then you like use Lightning Storm to try to finish them. I just think it would be entertaining.
That at least, would add a little fun factor in there.
Yeah, and it just seems like Lightning Storm. It should just hit everything. It's Lightning Storm, Like Consecrate. It's weird to me how some of these are designed to hit the hero and some are not. Like Holy Nova and Consecrate hit them, but then Blizzard and Flame Strike and Lightning Storm do not. It's interesting, but
it's because Flame Strike's already infuriating enough.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Oh, look, there went everything.
But this card is just good anyway.
Yes.
The only reason I'm saying that is because I just think it'd be funny. But it's one of those cards too. Yeah, I almost always before I play this card pray for a spell power totem. It often is, and you do the thing too. And I don't know if you guys have this experience where you're like, you have that Lightning Storm in your hand. They got like 2 creatures you can't quite kill. And you're like, I don't want to use Lightning Storm on just this. Like, I want them to fill the board up with a bunch of crappy little dudes before I use my Lightning Storm. So it's kind of a painful card to use or not use, because you're overloading yourself as well. So it's a fun card, and it's got some entertainment value to it as well, because you don't know what's going to happen.
If you look up the word anxiety in the Hearthstone dictionary, next to it you will see a picture of Lightning Storm.
Yeah, please kill everything.
No one card has just made me just pull my hair out slowly as I try to decide whether or not to use it as much as this one card.
Well, this is why the Shaman makes such a good random deck, because you got this card, you've got the hero power, you've got all these like random elements, Forked Lightning as well.
Yep.
And throw in like a couple of mad bombers and stuff, and you've got
Knife
yourself a pretty fun deck. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Shaman is my abusive girlfriend that I keep going back to. That's what Shaman is in Hearthstone to me. Doomhammer. Doomhammer's up next. The epic weapon costs 5 mana, overload of 2, has 2 attack and a whopping 8 charges because it also has Wind Fury.
Yep.
You can hit twice per turn with this thing. Which, if you're new to the game, also means you can kill yourself really freaking fast. So be careful.
This is one of the only weapons where you... I don't really think it's always the best way to use it is just to always kill minions. It's kind of, to me, a way to just get a bunch of damage out over the next few turns. So it's almost like it's a finisher. It's not necessarily a control card. It's you put this on... You throw a rock biter down, you do 10 damage in one turn.
Yep.
And the next turn you probably almost have the kill, and you can still do another 4 attack with this thing. So
yeah, combined with a rock biter, it's a 6 mana.
It's a deadly weapon.
Blast.
Yeah. But of course it's 5 mana to cast it and overload yourself for 2, so it's expensive. 7 mana to put this card on, and this is again why I feel like the efficiency factor as compared to other weapons doesn't quite get there in the same way as Arcanite Reaper or Fiery War Axe or even Stormforged Axe. That's why you see Stormforged Axes in a lot of Shaman decks, but not Doomhammers. And you see them in some decks, but they're in kind of specific bursty type Shaman decks, and not in a standard control the board, whittle you down, finish you off kind of control deck. So, but I do think it's a great card. It's got a great place in the game, and I like the design of it.
Yeah. I can't think of any scenario where you'd want more than one.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. Hell no.
It's coming out late game, and if you need 16 swings with a 2 damage weapon, that game's not going well for you in the first place.
No, it's similar to the Assassin's Blade, the rogue weapon that has 4 charges. It's just, there's no real need to put 2 in, because once you equip 1, it's going to last you for a while. So
yeah,
games don't often go that long in constructed.
Yep. And then finally, rounding out our Overload discussion, the Earth Elemental. This is a big boy. He's 5 mana. He's got Taunt. He costs a whopping 3 Overloads. So this is the highest Overload cost in the game at the moment. And he's got 7 attack, 8 health. This was one of the reasons I was drawn to the Shaman in the first place when I first picked this game up.
Yeah.
I was just
an amazing card.
Just doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, it's 8 mana total. Even if I was paying that all at once, this would almost be worth it because you get a 7/8. But you can deploy him 3 turns early. Granted, you're screwing yourself.
So think about the 8/8 with Taunt, the Ironbark Protector that Druids have.
Yep.
And you see that for 8, you're getting 1 less attack power, but you're getting this out far earlier than turn 8. So, and like, okay, a Druid could get out an Ironbark on turn 6 with a Innervate, but that would be 2 cards, right? This is just 1 card, costs me 5 the turn I play it, overloads me for 3, and is just a big ass taunt. However, it's gone out of favor because of the Black Knight and the Big Game Hunter.
Yes, there's both, 2 really popular cards in the current meta that just straight out countered this card.
Yeah. So someone plays a Big Game Hunter or Black Knight against your Earth Elemental, and you basically lost the game right then and there. So that's why you don't see it very much. So unless the meta shifts where those cards are no longer popular, it's just not going to be a very used card, unfortunately. However, in Arena, oh my god, so good.
Yeah, it's almost... I feel like in Constructed, like, it's weird. It's almost like required to throw an Ancestral Spirit on this thing.
Yeah, the problem there is if you throw an Ancestral Spirit on it and someone like silences or Tink Masters or
you just get 2 for 1
hexes or or anything that's the problem there. Jocelyn, were you putting this card in your Overload deck?
I did. I think I only have 1 of them. I think so. It's only running 1. Okay. But what I'm finding, that's
probably the right amount actually. I think 1 would be better.
You sound so shocked. Jocelyn made a good constructed decision.
I'm just saying, like that's the way it should. I think you don't want to, because if both of them get countered, that is just devastating. But if one gets countered,
It's I mean, it worked out pretty well, but I'm finding this whole ranked open beta thing is so much better. I have yet to come up against somebody who's just like got these like crazy legendary filled decks. So, I mean, I don't know. I've really been enjoying it. I think I'm up at like 23 or something, and only played 3 or 4 games before Hearthstone died this afternoon. So, I don't know. I'm loving the influx of people, and I know that, there are the cards like the Black Knight and the Big Game Hunter that would counter these things, but I'm finding I'm coming up against decks less and less often that have those cards. So, even though sometimes maybe, yes, they will get countered, if you're playing at lower levels, then you should be fine to run 1. I wouldn't run 2, but 1.
Yeah, you can get away with playing this card more often. It's true.
Yeah.
When you get up to legend level and stuff like that, this card is a big gamble. Just make a change. Yeah, this card is a big gamble. So it's definitely a powerful card, and you look at it and you think like, oh man, you kind of like lick your chops and you think that this card's going to be amazing, and then it gets countered and you cry. So just be careful, guys. I think it would be really cool if it was like a 6/7 for like 4+3 or 5+2. Because then it would only be vulnerable to the Black Knight, not the Big Game Hunter, and it would just be like a really good card again.
Yeah, chat room was saying the same thing, and I wouldn't mind it being a 6/8.
Yeah, well, or 6/7. I mean, is what I'm saying. You take 1/1 off of it, and it's ultimately it's better then.
Yeah.
The other thing that like I wanted to say about this card is like think about something like, so this is why in Arena it's really good. Is think about something like the Venture Co. Merc. The Venture Co. is a 7/6 for 5 that kind of overloads you for 3 for the rest of the game while it's out there, right? So if you think about that, in Arena, Shaman is like, and you don't see Venture Co's in Constructed because they just get countered and then it sucks, But in Arena, like I think Earth Elemental is a really strong pick almost always because it's basically like a better Venture Co. Merc. Has Taunt, has better stats doesn't overload you for every turn thereafter. Yeah. Just one.
Well, and it's so much harder in Arena, too, to get specific cards to counter stuff. Like, if you know that Earth Elemental is getting played all the time, most people are running a Black Knight right now anyway, but then, you can have the big game Hunter, too. But when you're in Arena, it's all random, so you don't have those specific choices, so...
Yeah, when you get to, 10 wins, they probably have some of those counters, but early on, they most often don't, so...
Yeah.
And that's you always have to make this distinction in Hearthstone: is it Arena, is it constructed? Because these cards definitely have very different values in both places. But I'm going to bring up a couple of cards real quick before we close out this discussion that you want to make sure you are careful with Overload because of the power of these cards.
Yeah, this Earth Elemental right here goes in with what you were talking about earlier with the Fire Elemental.
Mm-hmm. If you play Earth Elemental on turn 5, you cannot play Fire Elemental on turn 6.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. You got to be careful. You have to know what's in your hand, what's going on. But I'm also going to say things like late in the game, if you play an Earth Elemental, you won't be able to play like Ragnaros or Ysera on the next turn, even with your full 10 mana. So
that happened a couple times where I had Ysera and I was like, oh yay, turn 9. Oh crap.
You're like, oh wait. I can't.
Maybe next time.
So you got to make sure, and this is the we can sum up this whole discussion of Overload in just this. Shaman players, you must play a turn ahead of where you are. You cannot just be thinking about the current board state and the current turn. You always have to be ready for the turn after and counting how much mana you'll have left. So every turn should be something like, okay, if I play that, on the next turn I'll have 5. Which means then I could play this. Okay, I will play that. So, you kind of have to do that sort of process. You can't just be like, ooh, 3 mana, Feral Spirit. Ooh, 5 mana, Earth Elemental. You make sure you understand what's about to happen to you next turn. That's my, biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, because otherwise you're like, ooh, 5 mana, Earth Elemental. And the next turn you're like, ooh, oh shit, Totem.
Yeah. Ooh, 3 mana, crap. Can't do anything. Yeah, and I've had a lot of games with Shaman where I'm overloaded every single turn. But the beauty is I just play another Overload card and it's cheap anyway, so it's fine. It's all good.
Yep.
Play my Earth Elemental on turn 5, and then on turn 6 I play Feral Spirit. I'm good to go.
That is fine as long as you're only always in a little bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing. You play 2 Overload cards in the same turn, and you're super screwed. And I played against Shaman where it's turn 7 and on turn 8 they have 2 mana, and that's just they played 2 lightning storms or something and a forked lightning. It's like, holy crap, all your mana's gone. So it's a rough class to play, but the rewards, if you can manage the Overload, it's powerful. It's very good stuff. So just get some time in before you give up on this class.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's talk some great crazy game stories. I think we can put the final nail in Overload for today.
Sure.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
I always look at my watch towards the end of that yell. Is it over yet?
Is Draxus dead yet or what? Jeez.
God, just take it like a man, you big red baby. Crazy game stories. We actually have some from the host this week. Jocelyn, what do you have for us?
Whoa!
Okay, I know, right? So I was playing a priest, which I know I never, ever, ever do, but all of my dailies had priest in them. So I'm like, I can't justify getting rid of 3 dailies when I could just play 1 class and get all the gold. So I played a priest.
Okay.
And so this guy I was playing against gets me down to 5 health and thinks he's safe because he has 28. Guys, I was sucking. I was doing so badly. So I had played Ysera, and he didn't kill her. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So then I doubled her health and got her up to 24 because she starts with 12. Then I matched her attack to her health for 24 attack, and then I used Nightmare, which she'd given me at the end of my last turn, to give her +5/+5, and I hit him in the face for 29 damage. Don't ever underestimate Ysera.
Especially when your opponent's a priest.
Ysera. What was that guy thinking?
I don't know. I was like, when she survived, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
If it's a priest, a priest has like a big health minion on the board, you gotta kill that thing, or at least get it low on health. Like, even getting it low on health is fine, because that scenario you just said, a priest can do that anytime they want. So
yes, it was. Oh, I was so happy.
Nice work.
This makes me ask, Dills, did you ever end up watching Day 9 Explains the Magic the Gathering color wheel?
I did watch that. Yeah.
Okay, because we were talking about the Earth Elemental just dying constantly. It made me think of him explaining green. Do you like playing big creatures? Do you? Okay, cool. Because green's like that. Every turn, you're just gonna be like, look at this big guy, and then he's gonna die. And the next turn, you're gonna be like, what about this big guy? And then he dies. But then one of those turns, he's not gonna die, and you're gonna feel great.
Yeah, I was playing Magic 2014 on my iPad the other day, and I was playing green, and I threw out like a 4/6 or something like that, and then I put +3/+3 on him, and then I just was like, and then I was like, holy crap, they only have 20 health. I swung through twice, and that dude was dead. It was awesome.
I ended one of my. I played in a Magic tournament this weekend. I did really well, actually.
Oh, good.
The best I've ever
done.
You
texted me that you were getting destroyed.
Because you texted me
when I turned that around.
Yes,
huh?
When you texted me, I was playing my very first set of best of threes, and I lost 0-2, and I was like, oh, no.
Dude, it was like 3 in the morning for you. Are you serious?
I didn't get out until 5.
Oh, my God.
It was a midnight pre-release tournament for the new set that's coming out. But we had 4 sets of best of 3, and I went 3-1. It was the best I've ever done.
Nice.
So
that is awesome, dude.
But I ended.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. I ended one of my games at 42 health.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
You start with 20.
You're playing like the white deck then, right?
I was playing red white.
Deck that does that?
Yeah, I was playing red white, so it was adding lifelink to my massive, but like almost no health on them Cyclopses. So
I'm gonna pretend I know what that means.
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff. Anyway,
sure, Garrett, whatever you say.
My Hearthstone story from the week. I was playing a mirror matchup, Hunter versus Hunter. Still enjoying my Hunter play. I had an explosive.
You're playing the good Hunter deck, right? Like not the piece of crap everything has charge Hunter deck.
Yeah, no, it's still very much Young Woo's deck with some personal tweaks.
I like that deck. I like that deck a lot.
Fun. I think, like I said, I think it's solid. I think just a couple personal tweaks that can get you real high up. Anyways, so I had an explosive trap and a misdirect up on my side of the board. I also had 2 4/5 Secret Keepers in the boar with charge that you get from the Animal Companion.
Okay.
So my opponent had 1 secret and a Stealth Worgen Infiltrator. So I attacked with my first Secret Keeper. His secret went off, which was a misdirect. Then my Secret Keeper targeted me, which set off my explosive trap, which killed his Stealth Worgen Infiltrator. It then dealt 2 damage to his face. Then my misdirect went off and retargeted that Secret Keeper off of me and onto my opponent, dealing 4 damage back to him.
Holy crap.
Wow.
So 1 minion set off 3 secrets across 2 players, and the original attacker still went to the original target at the end of all of this.
Did either of you guys have the weapon equipped at the time? Because you would have gained 3 charges.
I had Eaglehorn Bow at the time, and it was just like ting, ting, ting.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. That's this little science right there, because I would think, like, if not knowing that if your creature had then basically turned on you, explosive trap might kill your creature. Like, I would actually not be surprised if that's how that worked.
No, because you're still technically the owner of that minion.
It's still attacking from your side of the board, so I guess that does make sense because it explodes on the other side. So that is very interesting. That is very interesting.
Absolutely, it's all about who has custody of the minion, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
good to know, man. That sounds insane.
It was the wildest play I've seen in a while, and I'm so sad I wasn't streaming it.
Oh yeah, that needs to live on that moment.
Yeah, it's sad. I need to stream more. I really do. It's just like my game time is like so sporadic. I'm just like I might have 2 games in me. I might have 2 hours.
Yeah, that's the problem with streaming, and I'm always trying to like find the time where I can stream, but it's the exact same thing. If I sit down to stream, I want to stream for like a good 3 to 4 hours at least.
Yeah.
So that's not all my sessions are like that.
Yeah.
In fact, most of them are not.
Yeah, if I think I have 2 hours, I'll usually stream.
I usually do it in about an hour and a half chunk.
Yep.
That's usually enough for me.
Yeah.
You do it in chunks, huh? Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I do it in slabs. I do my streaming in slabs, not chunks.
Nice. Well,
let's slab of stream coming at you.
Let's round out this slab of a podcast with some emails.
Hello.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Welcome to emails. You can send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Today's first email comes to us from Ziminier. Your name?
Definitely pronouncing that right.
It's hard to pronounce. It says, hey guys, as Garrett says, even though Jocelyn is clearly a gamer girl.
Clearly.
Thanks.
Clearly.
You're all super cool. Thanks, Ziminier.
End of email.
No. My Hearthstone question is for Garrett, mostly. He said a couple of times he wishes he could do stuff during the opponent's turn, like in Magic the Gathering. I feel like that's part of what is great about Hearthstone. You do take turns without interaction, and this gives it a really chilled-out playstyle and lends to that casual flavor. Just wondering if Garrett has changed his mind on this, and also what Dills and Jocelyn thinks. Awesome show, guys. Short answer, no. No, I haven't changed my mind.
No, you have to give a long answer. That's why we do a podcast.
You haven't come around on this, yeah.
No, I get it. I accept it.
Okay.
I would still like to... So, I don't know. As long as OTKs are dead, like in their purest form, I'm more okay with this. But like if OTK Hunter had stayed in the game, I would just be like campaigning this.
Yeah. I prefer it without the, I'm not like, I didn't like come from the Magic world or anything, so it's not like something I miss. I did play Magic and I know how these instants work and things like that, but I do like this style of play better, and I think for the same reason that the person who writes the email says, is that it's when it's my turn, it doesn't feel like I'm worried, like if I play this they might instantly counter it, like so it basically lowers the bar of entry. Like I'm not like, I don't have to know every possible card that could be in the other person's hand to just enjoy the game. Whereas if someone were to be constantly countering everything I was doing, it would probably not feel very fun.
That's what my first game was like, and I was in the tournament the other night, and I was like ready to just be like, oh man.
Yeah, you're just like, screw you, man, and screw this, and I'm out of here. Like,
exactly.
Let me play. I want to play.
Well, what I think it did, I mean, the reason I like that, I think it just makes for a deeper game, and I find it interesting. I will say that I completely understand the benefits of this type of gameplay. It's much more one-to-one. It's easier to play. It makes it way easier to spectate. Dear God, trying to spectate Magic is like, I don't blame anyone who doesn't want to even bother trying to follow competitive Magic, because it's just not that fun to watch.
I tried to watch a live Magic tournament the other day on YouTube because I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna see how this goes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna turn off Trump and Crip, and we're just gonna watch some Magic. And I watched the finals of the World Championships from like this year, and the whole time I was like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I can't, like, the camera angle was like so far away. They kept trying to like put the card up on the screen, but the problem with the Magic cards is that the text is like, there's so much text that it's really small, and some of it is flavor text and some of it is like the actual stuff, so it was like, I couldn't tell what the hell. And I'm like, if I'm not already familiar, like, I'm sure a Magic player who plays all the time can see it from far away and go, oh yeah, that's that one freaking card. But I had no idea, so I basically like walked away from watching that. I watched it for like a good hour and a half or something.
Oh, really?
Zero extra knowledge about Magic when I walked in.
Yeah, and I mean, you could say that about anything. I mean, I take friends to esports events and we watch StarCraft. If they're not familiar with StarCraft, they're having a bad time.
Yeah, that's true. StarCraft is definitely, you have to have some understanding before it makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I watch League of Legends.
Dawson, what do you think about the instance? Do you want them or do you like it the way it is?
Oh no, I completely agree with you. I don't know what I would do if people could counter the things that I'm doing.
You would, Jocelyn.
No, dude, I'm sorry. I'm with Dills on this. I like being able to sit down, look at all my cards and go, okay, this is what I want to put forward this turn, and I'm gonna, play all of this stuff and then see what he can do about it. And then same thing. Like, I feel like I would get so frustrated. I get frustrated enough when they have their own turn and then come at me. If they were coming at me during my turn, I'd be going through the computer at people. It would be bad news.
But it's don't come at me, bro.
But it's equal. You get to come at them on their turn. It's equal.
No.
Yes. Oh.
No.
On their turn, I'm taking a pee break, though, Garrett. That's what you don't understand. And here's the other thing, too, is that if you played the Magic iPad game, the way instants work is like they play something and then I have to like hit pause. Like, oh, stop the game for a second.
Well, that's because it's Duel of the Planeswalkers, which is not good. Like,
that's how it works in the new one, too, the 2014.
I know. I have it, and it's a bad game.
Yeah,
it's a terrible game.
It's like, I'm sure I know that, like, in tabletop Magic, like I play it and then I say, hey, boom, I do this, and it makes more sense. Yeah. But as far as like a video game is concerned, that aspect of having to quickly like press something to stop the game to do that thing, this is another reason I think Blizzard's never going to put this in. Is just it slows the tempo of the game down.
Yeah, which I understand. And I'm by no means saying I want this in the game. Like, if you're just asking if this is something I enjoy and I would like to see, yes. Do I think it's ever going to happen? No, and I'm probably never going to talk about it again.
No, you probably will. Someone will ask about it at some point. You do a podcast about Hearthstone, Garrett. You're going to talk about it again.
Some OTK will happen in the future, and I'll just be like, see, this is why we need instance. But then Blizzard will balance it.
I told you.
Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter. But yeah, it's just a thing I really like from another game that's clearly inspired a lot of the things.
I think
about
they
this
can
game.
fill this niche with. I would like to see every class have secrets. Like I think the secrets thing is cool, and I don't think that they should always have it where only a few classes have it, because it's a great way to have the players interact when it's the other guy's turn, is to have these secrets. And
absolutely, I think that I would be much happier with that, because it's. I mean, I'm coming from something else and I'm applying those rules onto this game, but I really do think that the way secrets function, I feel like it's something that everyone should have access to outside of the boundaries of specific heroes.
Yeah, paladins, mages, and hunters. It's a cool thing, and everyone should get
this
a chance
is one
to try
of the main reasons I've been enjoying Yongwu's Hunter as much as I have.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, you get crazy game stories like your story from earlier. I mean,
my God, that was amazing. Yeah. I mean, that was the closest thing I've seen to a crazy stack in Magic. And what the stack is like, I do this, and then he does that, and I say, well, in reaction to that, I do this, and then he's like, no, I do that.
Yeah, it's like, no one ever gets to do anything. Well, that was fun.
Then whatever the most recent thing to happen does, that resolves, and the next thing resolves, and that's why I enjoy Magic. So, anyways, moving on. Dills, take the next email.
Okay, this is from Baraket, the Gnome Warlock of Ghostlands. He says, even though we all know Hearthstone is going to be a free game, I was curious what your thoughts are on a collector's edition we can pay for. It doesn't need to have a box, just some in-game goodies, Hearthstone, and our Blizzard games, and and maybe saying in-game goodies, Hearthstone, and our other Blizzard games, and maybe some packs of cards. Okay. I think that this could kind of work. I think, though, that it would upset people if there was a collector's edition where you got things that could only be gotten by paying, unless they were purely cosmetic. So this could totally work, but they just have to be purely cosmetic.
Which all the other collector's editions,
exactly,
for all the other Blizzard games, that's how it is. I have a totally badass looking Ultralisk in StarCraft because I got the Heart of the Swarm collector's edition.
But right now, there's nothing to give away yet. So, and the way it sounds is on release, there's not going to be any of this stuff to give away yet either. It's all going to come later in like patches and expansions and stuff. So I don't foresee this happening. However, I don't think it would be a bad idea. It's just I don't think it's actually going to go down.
Yeah,
they
just
often
like the
have
digital
the art books and stuff in with the WoW collector's edition. So I mean, a Hearthstone art book would be fantastic, and maybe not so much soundtrack, but definitely crossover with other Blizzard games like the Diablo one. It like has the WoW pet and the StarCraft portrait and all that kind of stuff. You could do the same sort of things for Hearthstone.
Yeah,
it would have to be a physical box, but
actually, all the card art is being reused from the WoW TCG, which has already had an art book out years ago.
Yeah, well, fine then. Fun stealer.
So you just got instant casted, countered. Jocelyn.
Yeah,
like,
this is why I don't like this. My turn wasn't over yet,
stacking
Garrett.
that just happened right there.
I may own like every Blizzard art book ever as I hold up the heaviest one.
I am not surprised.
I think though as a box, I think we're definitely not going to see the box, but I could see when this stuff starts happening, instead of like a collector's edition of Hearthstone, you could get like bundles of stuff. I could buy 2 new maps and 3 new card backs all in one cool bundle.
Yeah, and you get like a special hero portrait or something. Like get Arthas as your Death Knight portrait, when Death Knights actually are a thing you can play. That was a bad example, but
he better actually be the Death Knight. Come on. Oh, have you guys seen that the in the cinematic for Hearthstone you do see Arthas for just a moment?
What? No.
Where?
Hey, see the Lich King. He flashes by. Watch the it's the like the intro. You see him flash by.
Huh. I feel like I would have noticed that.
Yeah, he's there somewhere. Waiting.
In the shadows.
Yeah, there must always be a Lich King.
It's just like World of Warcraft. We're going to have to wait years until he's ever actually mentioned, seen in the game.
And then when he's here, he's going to be everywhere. Just like wow.
Like, man, they are really milking the fanfare.
He's in the damn inn.
Hey, what's up? I was just having a beer. Oh, I got to get back to work in like an hour. Wonderful. Jocelyn, you want to take the final email?
Absolutely. So this one came to us a while ago, but I thought it might be a good one considering it just went into open beta. So this one comes from Ace Tank. What would you suggest is the most efficient way to unlock different parts of the game and get some experience? I've been playing for a few days now, proudly smashing minions, but not sure how to craft a deck, which we talked about crafting, so we don't have to talk about crafting, but specifically getting the different classes to higher levels and unlocking all the basic cards. So just basically a rundown of how we level and what the best way is to do that. So I don't know. Unlocking all the heroes is best, I think, with either friends or AI. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I just did it with the AI the first time around because, well, there's a couple of reasons why I think the AI, especially for a new player. I think for the new players, you want to use the AI. It's a low stress way to learn the game. You're not going to be like down on yourself for losing. I mean, I don't know how you are, but you shouldn't get down on yourself for losing against the AI. And they're a little easier than you're probably going to see. You're not going to play somebody with a crazy deck. You're going to play the AI with their kind of somewhat basic decks. But also there's a reward for beating the expert AI of each class, a gold reward. So you should just go ahead and do it that way, and then start working towards that, because it's going to help you get your first few packs.
I still totally haven't done that.
Come on, Jocelyn. Oh my God.
Okay, fine. Before next week, I guess.
What are you doing? Yeah, I'd say let's stream that, but that doesn't sound that exciting.
No.
Yeah, the other side of the coin is, yeah, you can totally do it against friends. If you're new and you have a friend who's new, it's actually pretty fun. Because you're
do random decks.
You're both just playing with, well, you're not doing random decks, so you don't have any damn cards, but
yeah,
you're both
still do random decks.
You're just doing
this do random
standard
decks.
Really
decks.
Suck.
It's going to pretty much be the standard decks, because that's about how many cards you have access to.
When I was talking to my mom about this, she was like, okay, well, is there like a computer I can play against? Because I don't want to be your bitch.
Your mom said that.
I'm not playing with you for a while.
Oh my God! Next time you can't make it on the show, Jocelyn, can we have your mom come on as like a fill-in host? Because that just sounds like she'd be a blast to talk to.
Yeah, she definitely is. But yeah, so yeah, you just basically asked about practice mode, and then when should they jump into arena? And so I think this is something that my advice a few months ago probably would have been different, but now I think as soon as you have enough gold, I think it's a great idea. It gives you more cards because you get a pack every time you play. You get to see all the cards. I mean, you're probably not going to do that well because you're still learning, but I think it's a really good way to spend gold when you're first into it. I don't know. What do you think, Arena God Dills?
I definitely think you should play Arena early on, but I do think, well, so you get one free. So,
that's
remember
true.
that. You don't even have to pay for the first Arena run. But I would probably bone up a little bit on how it all works before you just hop right in, because I know some people have told me stories of like, I got the game, I didn't learn anything about it, I just sat down and I was like, ooh, arena, click, let's go, and then 0-3, oh, that was terrible.
Well, no, I'm assuming that they've done the whole play and level against the AI that we were just talking about.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, make sure you've got a little bit of knowledge about the mechanics and how the whole thing works, because arena can be very demoralizing because you're not going to play necessarily people at your skill level. You're going to play totally random opponents, and your first time in, you could be paired up against someone who has 1,000 arena wins in their career, and that's not going to be very fun for you. So watch some streams, hang out, play the game a little bit, and then when you get like 300 gold, like be like, all right, I'm going to play 2 arena runs today, and then just go ahead and play them both, But I do think that it's an efficient way to get cards early on.
Yeah, go to our YouTube and watch our very first Hearthstone coaching vid, because we
we
go through the whole deck building process.
The whole deck building process?
That's what I heard too.
Deck building process. I'm having severe issues speaking tonight.
Is there a process for that? I didn't know that. Okay.
Well,
it's a process.
No, there's not. It's youtube.com/StarcastShow is where we have those videos up, and just look for Hearthstone coaching #1.
Yep, that's right.
Isn't it the only one?
No, there's 2. There's a second one, but we
another.
didn't do the deck building process. I already had a deck I was fiddling around with, and we're supposed to be doing one with Tom Merritt, but our schedules just don't line up.
We did one with Tom Merritt.
Well, yeah, but we're supposed to do one that actually gets recorded and not lost on a hard drive that died.
Aww.
So there's that. So go out, Ace Tank, and conquer.
Yes.
But conquer with knowledge.
Or just conquer by getting extremely lucky. You could do that as well. You could just draft like 5 legendaries and just own face.
Yes, but that's very bad advice.
No.
Don't listen to us.
Is that not how you do it? Oh, that's how I do it.
No, it's... Yeah. Anyways, that brings us to the end of another episode of The Angry Chicken. Thanks to those of you who left us 5-star reviews in the iTunes store. Any from Canada, Jocelyn? Anyone
we got a 5-star review from Ron of the Dead.
That is a great name.
Whoa!
It is a great name.
I love Ron of the Dead. He hangs out in my stream.
Oh, really? Nice.
Good dude. Yeah.
Does he have a mustache and eat undead bacon a lot?
Yeah. He's basically like Ron Swanson if he was fighting zombies. Yeah, exactly.
Badass. I would want Ron Swanson.
That's what I imagine him to be. Anyway.
On my zombie survival team.
Yeah.
That's who I'd want.
But yeah, he's always a fun presence in my stream anytime he's around. So dig it. Glad he finally left a review. Where's it been for so long, man?
Hell yeah.
Yell
Up
at him
in
next
Canada.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
only doing one a week.
Oh, so it could have happened before. Okay.
Well,
Gotcha.
from the North American store, we've got a few. One from Juice Shack, who is proudly a part of Team Love Dills.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Which, thank you, Twitter. Everyone was all over the Team Love Jocelyn and Team Love Dills. No one said Team Love Garrett.
That is a lie. There was a Team Garrett hashtag.
There's one person.
Yeah, remember? Because the guy
person.
slyly made fun of my math skills at the same time. You
Oh, you're right. I did actually laugh out loud at that one. That one was quite funny.
By the way, why does loving one of us mean that you can only love one of us? Why do we have to pit the TAC host against each other?
Because then we'll have 3 new t-shirt designs that we can hawk off and make people pay for. No.
I just want us to all love each other. We can just be team who loves everybody.
It's all in good fun.
Well, I'm not a hippie and I like soap, so love me the most.
That's why you're so hateable, Garrett. Yeah. Right there.
That's why Team Dills and Team Jocelyn are winning.
Because a lot of hippies listen to our show. What's going on here? I'm confused. Also, our reviews from hippies. Thanks to Jail Wrestler. Thanks to a guy that put nothing but numbers. And Icarius2, who just said we're entertaining. So
I'm gonna thank CSM Karas too, even though I know you're not gonna.
Oh.
But I'm not gonna say why, and I'm not gonna promote his activities. But I just thought it was funny.
And if you go to iTunes and you read what he did and you find it humorous and you think we're gonna read it as well, no, this is the last time we will give any attention to a person who did what this person did.
We're not gonna read it,
but it was pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah,
if you want to find out, go look at the North American iTunes store.
Let him be an original is all I'm saying, guys.
Yep. very funny. Made us laugh. Good times.
It is not just the, because you say this all the time, it's not just the North American iTunes store. There is a US store and a Canadian store. We have our own store, and we're part of North America, so cut it out.
I speak server location. I don't speak...
Yeah, it's like NA and EU. That's how we think.
That is exactly what I'm thinking of when I'm talking about it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I forgot. We do have a US and a Canadian iTunes store.
Yeah, I'm here too, guys.
Yeah. Why is Justin Bieber higher on ours than yours? Jeez, take him back.
No, we don't want him.
Anyway.
Peeing on our houses and stuff. It's terrible. Throwing eggs.
Nobody pees on my house but me.
Get out of here.
This is where you know the show's over. The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. You can see more about this and all of the other amove shows over on amove.tv. Jocelyn's The Gamer's In is there. My StarCraft podcast, StarCast, can be found over there. And make sure to check out all of the other fine shows over at frogpants.com as well. As previously mentioned, the email is tacpodcast@gmail.com. We record live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv, which coincidentally is also where you can catch the Angry Chicken Invitational this Saturday, February 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Tune in, because we've got 4 of the best damn Hearthstone players out there right now duking it out for a prize pool. So go check that out. Our mobile live stream is provided by Alpha Geek Radio, so go to mobile.alphageekradio.com for that. Our Twitter is @TAC Podcast. I can be found at Garrett Art. Dills is at Willie Dills, and Jocelyn is at GIS Gamer. Brian Griffith is the musician responsible for our awesome intro music. He's over at briangriffithmusic.com. And you can find my graphic design work at nomoonart.com. That's where you can see my portfolio and contract me if you need some freelance done. Dills, where can people find you?
You can find me streaming on twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. I did not get much of a chance to stream this weekend because of things like the Super Bowl, which was a huge waste of my time. I should have been streaming instead. And,
agreed.
I would have rather watched your stream than the Super Bowl.
Right? I probably will be streaming at some point this week. It's debatable whether it's going to happen tonight because I do have a little bit of stuff to get done, but if that stuff goes quickly, I might do it. So anyway, come check me out there. If you follow me, you'll be able to find out when that happens. It's kind of random at this point, but you can also listen to me on The Instance talking about a little game called World of Warcraft, which has nothing to do with this game. It's just a game nobody really plays. It's kind of a stupid podcast. You probably won't like it. But if you want to, you can check it out.
That's a show about that game that's totally ripping off the Elder Scrolls Online, right?
Yeah. It's basically called like Elder Scrolls ripoff online RPG.tv. Yeah, that's the one.
They were gonna say .gov, which would have even funnier,
yeah, actually, that would have been better.
Yeah.
Damn it, wasted opportunity.
Ah, shoot. So wonderful, Jocelyn. How about you?
People can find me right here on AMove TV. Everything I do is here. We've got, obviously, the Angry Chicken Monday nights. The Gamer's In, it goes live on Friday nights. You can also head on over to Doghouse Network. I'm going to be doing a bunch of game reviews for them coming up in the next couple of weeks, so check that out. And you can watch me streaming on Twitch. I'm at GIS Gamer on Twitch as well.
Wonderful. We're also sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. They even sponsored the Angry Chicken Invitational. We wouldn't have prize money without them, so big thanks to them for doing that. Our code to use is TAC, and it gets you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. We thank them for their support. We thank you for tuning in, and we will see you all. Well, we'll see you this weekend for the Angry Chicken Invitational, and then we'll see you next week for episode 18 of the Angry Chicken. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.